Prepping the speech. Pat JABLONSKI flips through folders. The pressure mounts. Can he perform, such as Leighton has? Can he follow the master, the invitation host?
Do you think he's saying to himself, oh crap, did we really just pin all of our tournament hopes in the argument that nuclear war is great? Did Joe Peabody really believe that? I was just kidding.
I'm going to go to survival. No, I'm going to go to future weapons. And survivability. Inevitability of transmission. Future weapons.
This could be the speech with the first bit of analysis.
Should I go Frank? Any doubt in your mind about consciousness shift off of the done cards on case would warrant a negative ballot. They have to get consciousness shift for everybody on the planet. That would include military planners of terrorist groups. It would have to be very, 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 very specific. Their cards do not meet. My next response off of antimatter weapons was we need World War III right now. This is Langford in '79. Perhaps Robert Heinlein had a point after all when he recently suggested that arousing World War III would be a fine thing for the human race. It would at least reduce the numbers. Better to have it sooner than later, of course, for there is no telling when a real doomsday weapon will emerge. Better to suffer nuclear holocaust now than total annihilation in a few years or a few centuries. One detonation ain't gonna do it, folks. Next response here is antimatter weapons are ideal for terrorists. That's approximately 185. The antimatter bomb can, in the words of the New York Times article, be made extremely small and yet retain great power. That means two things. This will be a weapon against which there is no defense. It does not have to move by a bomber or submarine or missile. A lone individual can carry it concealed on his person. Case side scenario, in case terrorists are motivated by political oppression, right? They do not solve political oppression, hence our extra topicality stuff that we're running off case, right? To that extent, terrorists are going to get antimatter weapons. Their consciousness does not ship that out. Antimatter weapons are certainly bad. Next response here is this makes nuclear war. No, this increases terrorist access. That's approximately 86. Antimatter bomb would step up the devastating nuclear potential 100-fold, but it is worse. It makes explosives so powerful, so small, and so cheap. A single terrorist could carry concealed on his person enough explosive power to totally demolish New York City. Next response here is fanatics will get antimatter bombs. That's approximately 85. Only these antimatter bombs, once these antimatter bombs are developed, it will within a few years be cheap and then accessible for any fanatic dictator. Next response here is antimatter bombs to be readily available to terrorists. It's approximately 85. Think what could be packed into a terrorist suitcase or briefcase, since the principal cost of nuclear weapons is delivery system. That is the missile or the bomber or the submarine. Consider how cheap an antimatter device would be, and therefore how widely available. They are not impacting terrorists not getting antimatter bombs, right? And the cards indicate superpower military plans. Next response here is terrorists are going to use antimatter weapons as approximately 86. Without testing the terrible specter of a perfected antimatter bomb disappears. Such a bomb would be cheap, light, portable, made to order for a terrorist intent on blowing up American cities. Extend the nuke war not survivable in the future, and antimatter's all energy. This assumes that you need an all-out nuclear war now, right? And they certainly delay. They just get one detonation with a conventional weapon, a conventional nuclear weapon, right? That's not going to preclude antimatter development because that's the card that I read to you above. There's absolutely no flip. His cards tell you terrorists get disarmed, stuff like that. We say, no way. It doesn't get total disarm because you don't get consciousness for the terrorists. Let's talk about survivability. Okay. Here's where we get fun. Yeah.
Analysis. We want analysis.
His first response says that it's going to hurt the quality of life. My first response is it's going to improve quality of life. You'll see that below. I will go first off of Joe's structure. I want to go to his fourth, about our third or fourth, 82 card. 369 studies prove. These are the best studies. Proves its survival. He does not impact these studies, right? He's dealing with Carl Sagan. We will impact Sagan's indices below. I would say the best studies, which is the 82 card, indicate nuclear war survival. Certainly he does not quote any studies, right? Best studies with life from -15. Therefore, all-out nuclear war is survival. That would prevent antimatter weapons with the total nuclear war. You would vote negative there. That would de-justify bombs. My next response here is nuclear war would not end the world. That's cast in 82. Nuclear war may indeed have the appearance of Armageddon, but it's not distinctly the end of the world. Next response here is there's more survivors than dead. That's Teller in 82. Should nuclear war occur in spite of every good effort, the number of people killed would be truly terrifying, but many more would survive. Next response here is humanity survives the largest. That's Storfman 82. Preponderance of evidence is that human life survived even the largest nuclear war. Next response here is buildings will survive any scenario. As mentioned in 71, even in the worst attacks, the experts must remain optimistic about survival prospects. I can write to you any kind of nuclear war scenario you want, but no matter how bad the war is, man is going to survive. Even if a billion people are killed, you still have a couple of billion left. Next response here is there's no greater ecological harm than already present. That's green 85. And thinking about post-attack ecology, it's useful to keep in mind that nature may not be so delicately balanced after all. No logical way to nuclear attack could induce gross changes in the balance of nature and approach the type of degree of the ones that human civilization already proved. Next response here would be a turnaround. Nuclear war would reduce environmental stress. That's Office of Civil Defense 82. Although it might be verging on the macabre to say so, a nuclear war could alleviate some of the factors leading to today's ecological disturbances that are due to current high population concentration and heavy industrial pollution. You don't need one detonation, you need an all-out nuclear war. They certainly delay. That's good. Next response here is there's no serious ecological damage. That's burden 76. The long-term effect on aquatic life from nuclear war is estimated to be about the same order as that for terrestrial organisms. Next response here is ecosystems will fully recover. That's NAS 75. Because the resiliency of natural ecosystems, recovery during subsequent 25 years can be expected to be fairly complete. Next response here, there's no long-term harm to the ecosystem. That's NAS 75. A decade or so after the event, surviving humans and ecosystems will have no risk of extinction. Next response here is that dormant. Next response here is. I want to go down to where he has Sagan cards. You might want to flow this left. First response here, Sagan's report is exaggerated. That's Win 84. Sagan's group is looking at a worse than the worst case situation. Next response here, Sagan's report is propaganda. That's Rivkin 85. Studies were inconclusive and politically motivated. The only news telex says is that Sagan has made a lot of propaganda about a very colorful effect. Next response here, his heat radiation factor was omitted from the study. That's London 84. If, for example, the Earth is so covered in soot and smoke, heat radiation from the Earth's surface will not easily escape into space. The eventual surface temperature will depend upon the competition between the inflow and outflow of radiation. This equally plausible scenario introduces the inconsistencies in the report submitted by Sagan. Next response here is nuclear war is great, it improves life, thus life is after beings. That's Thompson 78. On the ashes of the old order, humanity could conceive a much greater and deeper relationship with the planet in which it lives and was ever envisioned in the materialist arguments over who ran the shop in capitalism and communism. Next response here, this will get you a new golden age. This is McLean's 81. Those who survive are in for a good time. Conditions could improve rapidly, and we might enter a new golden age starting about year 2010. Next response here is some are going to die, but a lot are going to live. That's Zuckerman 82. No serious critic of nuclear war, no matter how pessimistic, is denied the millions of people that survive one. Next response here is humanity will not end no matter what. The Singer in 86. The Scientific Committee on Problems of the Environment has released the results of this two-year study involving more than 300 scientists of 30 countries. Yeah, screw this. I'm starting to sound like Al. My voice is going. Next response here is worst case survival. It's color in 82. Get up and start flowing down. Assuming the worst case scenario, there will probably be a 50% decrease in the ozone layer over the northern hemisphere during the following year. However, our survival can be considered certain. You're too short. Don't even try. Next response here. Nuclear winter is only bad enough to require foodstuffs. Zero to 85. Likelihood is that a temperature decline would be of less than catastrophic proportion, and that would make certain civil defense measures potentially very important, e.g. having large individual and national stored food reserve. Next response here is nuclear winter will not kill all. And Schneider in 86. This looks like nuclear fall, more like nuclear fall than nuclear winter, says Stephen Schneider, NCAR. We aren't getting extinction of humanity scenario. Next response here is that it's impossible to predict threshold, Smith 85. The atmospheric, climatic, and biological consequences of nuclear war cannot be predicted no matter how many factors put into a computer program. Next response here is oceans would solve environmental problems. This would indict their cars, right? McCavity 85. No matter what the initial cooling over land surfaces, the ocean temperature will not change significantly and will act as a massive heat source to warm the atmosphere, rapidly increasing temperature of the coastline and eventually interior temperatures as well. Next response here is affirmative studies overestimate. As McCavity 85. The TTAPS teams claim without evidence, and nuclear smoke is 100 times more effective in disturbing the atmosphere is not convincing. You need an all-out, rousing, big-time nuclear war. Not only does that prevent antimatter, it improves life afterwards. One detonation ain't going to do it. We need one now. Let's all run out and start one.
Obviously, I'm missing responses. So let me get some cards, man. I need the Langford card. I need the Langford card.
You gotta be kidding.
I tell you what, we'll talk a lot before you add
Oh, the top card.
top card.
I'm doing it right now.
You got it. The reason why you would not want to risk the detonation is because you're not sure that the detonation is going to cause the total consciousness shift, and you don't want to risk delaying the nuclear war, right?
Your cards are just,
Well, is that right?
they're just, well, no. I mean, your cards are just so gooey.
Hang on, man. You're reading me back. Whoa! I think we got a global consciousness here. Your cards say that for the folks that survive a nuclear war, we're going to all be like down at the Walmart having a cheeseburger. You want to call my cards gooey?
Okay, sorry.
At the very least, we have equitable goo.
No, your gun cards.
The
Your
risk-
gun cards don't specify terrorists in that first part.
Okay,
And second of all, the spark argument indicates you have to have all-out good time rousing.
Right, I understand that. But the reason that you say we shouldn't risk it is because we're not sure of the effects. So taking this kind of action...
Shouldn't risk what?
The detonation. Because we're not sure what the outcomes are going to be. Like, you're pressing my cards
We're
out.
pretty sure what the outcomes are going to be. You're
No,
going to
no,
have
no, no.
antimatter life.
No. I mean on my case, my scenario, not Spark now. The reason that you wouldn't want to have the detonation is because you're not sure what the effects are going to be after the detonation occurs, right?
Yeah. The reason why you would not
You're
want
not sure
the
that-
detonation is you're preventing an all-out nuclear
No,
war.
but remember that my impact off the detonation is global disarm and changing consciousness towards
I
military
realize
power.
that. You're preventing a nuclear war, which is good.
Right. Well, okay, but see, let's divorce Sparkness, okay? Forget that you're random for this round. I don't mean to be trite about it, but I do want to get this point out.
Okay,
But-
I'll try.
I'm serious, I mean, at least with this.
Okay.
The reason you don't hey, careful, pal, or I'll stick out on you. The reason why you wouldn't want to risk a detonation is because, given the argument you're presenting at Spark, you're not quite sure what the effects are going to be after the detonation.
Oh, the effects of your detonation?
Yeah, the effects of my detonation. You're not sure that it's going to solve all militarism, so you don't want to do it. You want the all-out nuke. Is that clear?
You're not going to solve terrorism.
Right, understood. If that's true against my case, why would you want to risk a global thermonuclear war in the hopes of creating a consciousness which would prevent the development of antimatter weapons?
So you've got to stop antimatter. Also, we're improving life.
I understand that, but remember my last argument in the 2AC where I said, remember that response to our case because of the microcosm of your argument cut against your position? My question is, given that the reason that you're rejecting our case on the done cards is because you're not sure of where the world is going after the detonation occurs, why would you want to increase the risk 300-fold by having a global thermonuclear war in the hopes of preventing antimatter weapons afterward?
Your case is pretty good, man. I mean, you
I
get some
understand that.
disarm. I mean, you
Yeah, no, I
certainly
understand. I
done
understand that.
indicates you get some risk of consciousness.
But you're
But
not
of course,
letting it get the whole
the
impact.
military
of the case
consciousness
because
never
it's
happened
not
after Nagasaki. What we're saying is you need all-out nuclear war, and that's superior. That's
Okay,
the
but the reason you're pressing the cards out is obviously because if the cards were won, they'd be denying you the